Greetings, Bansaw Crown Music here. Hope you're all doing well. It's a bit of a strange time at the moment. I myself am working from home for the next couple of weeks, so we'll see after that. So anyway, I've got a little bit of time spare to do an Avenger tutorial for you, so I hope you find that helpful. This tutorial is to create an acidic ARP preset which sounds a little bit like this. Okay, we're going to start from scratch. So that means right-clicking on the memory button here and choosing Initialize. And then yes, and we have this sound. Now a lot of oscillator shapes would work for this kind of sound, but let's just choose one that I looked up earlier that worked pretty good in wavetables called Saw Perfect Quart. So let's just choose that sound there. You can see it's a wavetable, which is enabled here. That's what it sounds like. But I don't want it to traverse the whole wavetable, just the beginning here. So I'm going to turn down the number of waves right down to the beginning, and that limits how far it can play through the whole wave. So it's playing really just the beginning there. Okay, let's start with the Oscillator Window section here. We normally make one or two changes here, but for this particular preset we're just going to leave it as it is for the moment and just come back to it. What I do want to do, however, is just put a bit of a high pass filter on here. And we can do this a few ways. There's a high pass filter knob here which you could turn, or in the oscillator window here that you can click and drag that, and that you can see that affecting the FFT table there also. But let's just like draw it in by hand. I'm going to adjust it a bit later. I'm just going to have a gentle slope there, just to take out the lows in a very gradual way. And now we have this sound, which you can hear is a little bit thinner. Okay, now let's mess with the amp section. The ASDR is pretty much okay the way it is. I don't like too much velocity sensitivity on my presets, if it's an ARP preset for example, so I just bring this down here like this, and that kind of normalizes the velocity. Make some minor adjustments in the filter. Turn this down, filter down to about 6,000 hertz. A bit of grit to it, a bit of drive, and the envelope amount, turn right up, touch more decay, and we have the sound. Now here's the important part for this particular sound. We're going to add a shaper module. Click on the plus, and then click on shaper 1, and that is now going through shaper 1. Now the shaper module simply adds different types of distortion. Also at the bottom here you can see it does some kind of EQ adjustment as well. For the moment we'll just go with the soft distortion, but turn it all the way up. Now at what frequency do we want to add it? We'll just go to about here, 130, 135 Hertz. And the gain to about halfway. And now let's link this to an ARP. So we'll turn the ARP on. It's going to ARP1. I'm going to click on this, left click, go to, takes us to ARP1. I found a preset in the ARP section here which works pretty much okay. We're down to synths, progressive 4. And the trick here which gives it its rhythm is to have these nice little short notes here. If you don't know how to shorten an ARP note, simply click on the green square here, click and drag in, and that will actually shorten the note for you, and then release. So now it's going through the shaper and it's also going to the ARP. Actually, let's make one minor adjustment to the frequency here in the shaper. Just click and drag this up to about 444 thereabouts. Now you can hear we're getting a bit closer to our sound that we want. How about now adding some interest to this sound by modulating that particular frequency that we've just altered? But why do we want to do this? Because movement is life, and movement is interest as well. It adds a lot of interest to the sound, and it keeps your listeners more interested in your track. So let's try doing that through a mod envelope. We're going to add one here. So over the course of 4 bars, let's modulate it up. Double click to add a point, and come down on the 8th there. Now it isn't a one shot, it's going to be a ping pong. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know that I nearly always turn this to first MIDI note to stop the envelope being re-triggered time and time again. Okay, now let's link this to the frequency knob. So click and drag on the 6 dots, move it over to frequency, and then drop it. Okay, now let's just experiment just to see how far we can take this up. I think to about 29%. Let's try that. Is that a bit too fast? Maybe let's take this down to about half that speed. Half. And just to make it less smooth and less predictable, let's also add an LFO to that parameter. Click on shape and let's just choose something a little bit random. Here's this one. Click on the 6 dots and also drag that to the frequency knob as well. Go into the mod matrix and increase it a little bit, affecting it a bit too much there. Just want a very subtle effect. Let's go back to the LFO, make sure it's just affecting it in one direction, moving the offset right up there to the top. Back to the mod matrix. Let's try that. Just a little bit too much there on the modulation for the mod envelope. Don't want to go in too far. Okay, we'll need to have it a bit more, maybe the fuller sound's a bit thin at the moment. We can do some of that by filling in some space. Let's take up the delay a little bit there. It's about 40%. Left hand side here, Oscillator Window. Let's increase the mix in with a few voices. Slight detune. Give it a full pan. And now we have this. Okay, what else can we do to this sound? Let's get a bit creative. Let's add a flanger to it. Not 100%, mixed in very subtly. Take this mix down a touch here. Okay, what else can we do here? We can add further multiband distortion in the effects rack over here, on the left hand side. Right click, choose Multiband Distortion. Let's have a look for high booster. Remember, we're keeping away from boosting the lows. And just add a little bit to the mids here. I think I'll leave it there for the moment. That's our final sound, which we're going to rest on. Altering the oscillator window here makes a big difference to the sound. So do try and experiment with the different kinds of wavetables you find in the factory library. And have fun and be creative with that. I've made this preset available free for download for you. It does work with the Avenger 1.5 and above. The link for that is in the description of this video. Okay, today we've learned how to do an acid type pluck sound with an ARP and modulate the shaper module and add some distortion to it. If you haven't subscribed already, do subscribe for more Avenger related content and do hit the like button if you found it helpful. Okay, until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.